Yeah, I'll always be a metalhead. Nothing can take that away from me.
Right.
I mean, not jail, not people, not religion, not anything. I'll always be a metalhead. Metalhead leaves you all alive.
You're listening to the Great Metal Debate Podcast.
Welcome back, metalheads, to another episode of the Great Metal Debate Podcast. It's Xander back with a new album review. Today, we will be briefly talking about my thoughts on the new album from Hulder, titled Versus an Oath. Those of you not in the loop, Hulder is a one-woman black metal band from Washington State. I had heard the name Hulder muttered a few times on the internet over the past few years, and I mistakenly thought it was an old-school black metal band. But sometime last spring, I decided to give her a listen, and discovered that Godslastering, Hymns from a Forlorn Peasantry, was the one and only album released by her on Iron Bonehead Productions back in 2020. I remember thinking the album was okay, but before I began to listen to Versus an Oath, I figured it would be a good idea to revisit the debut. In the past week, I have listened to the debut twice in a row because I ended up being kinda impressed when I really paid it a lot more attention. For Versus an Oath, we see that she has now signed with $20 Spin, and 3 weeks ago, Black Metal Promotion uploaded the first new music video for Herketh the End. I had listened to the single only a couple times before I got my hands on the promo, and even after listening to Versus an Oath front to back 3 times, I can confidently say that Godslastering is better. Sorry. Don't get me wrong, Versus an Oath is a decent record, but it's a small step down. It all begins with the obligatory intro track, where all you hear is the sound of crows cawing, followed by some thunder. It's very generic and cliche compared to the first song on the debut, which was Upon Frigid Winds. That was a great way to kick off the first album, not some build-up to a forgettable track like Bows Ablaze. Going back to that single, Herketh the End, I didn't mind the hypnotic chanting choir-esque clean vocals she does, but it seems like the guitar throughout the majority of these songs are washed out in the mix with other instruments. It's certainly a far cry from a song like Creature of Demonic Majesty. The album title track didn't do much for me either, but one thing about this record I thought was silly was the 2 interlude tracks. Why couldn't the operatic sirens of Lamentation just be combined with the same track as An Offering? Cast into the Well of Remembrance was a song that stood out to me because of the synth work and the acoustic guitar moment. Too bad it was faded out in the studio mix and was overpowered by the drum cymbals being too loud. Plus there was that mild tempo change where the electric guitar and the vocals both sped up together. The remaining 3 songs didn't stand out to me much as they all kinda sounded too similar. This type of black metal definitely appeals to a certain crowd, being both avant-garde and having a little bit of that raw side. Again, I must clarify that both Hulder's records are decent, but are not what I would rank as top tier. I applaud anyone who is a one-person band because it shows both musicianship and dedication. I can also appreciate how her lyrics are more focused on medieval folklore instead of the tired satanic theme we're all used to seeing. So if you think you'd be interested in this, I'm sure you'll be able to buy her digital files and merchandise on her Bandcamp page. In conclusion, I'll rate Versus an Oath with a 5 out of 10.